we have a brand new shocking report that has shown that Giannis Antetokounmpo is Houston's top target this summer to acquire via a trade and make the Houston Rockets the team to beat in 2026. Welcome in here to Rockets Digest. I am your host, Jace Andrews, and let's get right into this as Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, we know him as the guy with the Bucks. He's been an MVP caliber player, superstar type guy, and trade rumors for him going to the Rockets honestly started back in November. But they're now coming to a big fruition as the season is coming to a close in some aspects. The Rockets have pushed themselves to what most people think new heights that they weren't able to reach in previous years and have shot themselves into a win-now window. And Giannis Antetokounmpo could easily fit this Rockets team, but the problem is, what would the trade assets be? So let's start talking about it here and go into the report. This one coming from Bleacher Report saying, in fact, recent reports have indicated that the Rockets general manager, Rafael, may contact the Milwaukee Bucks this offseason to put together an offer for their dominant 2021 NBA Finals MVP and two-time league MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's start there. Giannis in the Rockets organization would just send this team to another stratosphere. 30 points per game. The rebounding on this team would be unbeatable. I truly believe that there may not be a better rebounding team in the past 20 years in the NBA if the Rockets were able to get Giannis. He fits the mold too. If you look at this team in so many different aspects, from Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün, want to go to Dillon Brooks or Fred VanVleet. I know there's a lot of question marks with VanVleet. Is he going to play next year with the Rockets? Are they going to let him loose? But Giannis makes this team into the team to be. And I say that not lightly. This is something that everybody has talked about, that if Giannis were able to trade to the Rockets, right here, it would put Houston as the outright championship favorite for the 2025-2026 season and beyond. And it suggests, here's the offer. Rockets would give up Jalen Green, the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, or 2024 NBA draft, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, and combined with a haul of some other first-round draft capital, which right now the Rockets have to spend. And I mentioned it on the previous video, Ime Udoka, when he is talking to the media, when he is referencing this Rockets team, not just now, but in the future, 1, 2, 3 years, he said it. We can win this year, but I want this team to be a win-now window. We jump to a place where we have young talent, Alperen Şengün, Amen Thompson. You have somewhat of a good leadership part with Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. You add Giannis Antetokounmpo into this mix, and you're losing out on Jalen Green, which we'll talk about in just a moment. It's a big thing. But that's a huge, huge gain. And in some ways, it makes me feel like the Rockets could easily let go of Fred VanVleet, and that opens up the door for more free agent opportunities in that aspect as well. And that's where I sit here and think, okay, how is this trade going to work? And I want to get it done. I think the Rockets should get it done. I think that's the best plan of action to make you a top team for next year's championship. Because in a lot of ways, when we started this season, the Rockets were not the team to beat. And it's one thing when you look at this team and say, okay, they kind of overperformed one year, but will they do it again? If you make the move like we've heard the Rockets are going to make, then yes, this will continue. You make a move for Giannis Antetokounmpo, then the Rockets will 100% continue in this right direction, and it will be a threat in the Western Conference and in the entire NBA for the next 3-4 years, however you want to talk about it. I do want to head into a little bit of a quote topic here, and this coming directly from Bleacher Report, and this is, again, why I say that Rockets are in a win-now window. Quote, the Rockets seemed aimless for several years, but the emergence of Alperen Şengün as an all-star, Amen Thompson as a problem for other teams, the addition of quality veterans, and the hiring of head coach Ime Udoka, they have shifted the team's trajectory, end quote. Again, that's what that's what Ime Udoka has been talking about all along. Was the plan when he got hired to build this team up for a success in 3, 4, 5 years, however, make this a successful organization in the future. Yes. But when you have an opportunity like this, when the opportunity is presented that you are third place in the East right now on a 6-game winning streak and your team is still without Amen Thompson, the time is to now strike. Now again, things could change, but I think right now, with the way the Rockets season has gone, they're going to have a long playoff run. And whether that comes to an end, whether that ends in the NBA Finals, whether they get a championship, I fully believe that the goal for the Rockets is in the future. And Ime Udoka knows that I have 2-3 years now where we can win right now with Amen Thompson. And in this trade package, you're also not giving up Jabari Smith Jr., which we talked about with him in the Kevin Durant trade. So kind of a lot of interesting things there with that. I do kind of want to talk about Bleacher Report's basically overview of the Rockets offseason and trade candidates. So again, they're near the luxury tax, which, that's okay. But the key free agents, Fred VanVleet, there's a team option. So there's a chance that Fred VanVleet will be let go. Steven Adams, Jeff Green, both some of the older guys, Deshaun Tate. But the ones I want to look at here, the primary trade bait, Jalen Green, Reed Sheppard. I think people are so undervaluing him. He was the 3rd pick in the draft, and no one's talking about it. I mean, no, granted, he hasn't done what you would expect the 3rd pick to do, but still, the ceiling is with Reed Sheppard. There is a high ceiling with Reed Sheppard. Obviously, Jock Landale, Aaron Holiday, Cam Whitmore. There's a couple of different things that could really just change the entirety of a bunch of different aspects. But the potential trade targets we talk about: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. We've talked about Kevin Durant. I'm sure we'll get into Devin Booker later on in the channel, but I just look at this as a potential time for the Rockets to go out, scoop up Giannis, and make this team the win-now team that Ime Udoka has talked about. And Jalen Green is a question, and it's, do you want to trade him? He is a guy that is young. He has performed well, and the stats are here, and they're great. The thing that I want to point to, and it's so important right now in the Rockets being on this win streak, he comes in, night out, and plays as hard as he possibly can. And I think in some ways, when Fred VanVleet was off the floor, obviously back now, I think Jalen Green was an undervalued leader of this team because Dillon Brooks doesn't give off that leadership vibe. Jalen Green, although being young, this entire team is young. And he showed that he can go out there and compete in them, especially against the Bulls. He was kind of that motor in this offense. He got them going. And a lot of times, I think that's undervalued. I think it's very undervalued with Jalen Green. And that's where it's like, okay, do you trade him? Is Giannis worth that aspect to trade for? And that's where I don't know. There's a couple different things you can go with Jalen Green. However, when you have seen the surge of Amen Thompson, of Alperen Şengün, having to potentially get to let go of Fred VanVleet, cut some money, still having Dillon Brooks, and adding Giannis, I think that's a no questions asked. You do it. No questions asked. That is something you do. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Giannis guarantees a championship. But does he make you a heck of a lot closer than maybe you do stand right now? 1,000%. And when the Rockets are in this position with the way they have this young team, go make a move. Go make a move. And I believe they will. And trust me, I think the heights for this team are still in the future. I truly believe that, yes, the Rockets have done great this year, and I truly believe they will have a deep playoff run. I'm a little worried about, young, first time in the playoffs, but, kind of like OKC last year, they were young, first time in the playoffs, so they're the 1 seed, they got knocked out before the finals. Kind of see that similar trajectory with the Rockets, but that's why you make a move. You make a move this summer, and you set yourselves to face up against the Thunder for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And the West will be controlled by Houston and OKC, and that's what you do by making a move for Giannis Antetokounmpo. We appreciate you watching. Make sure if you hit the subscribe button down below, you're going to be one of the first 100 subscribers. And if you made it to the end of the video, you obviously enjoyed the content. So go down there, hit that subscribe, and we will see you next time on Rockets Digest.